But I just said, you know what? I don't want this life anymore. I got really burnt out.
That's like 2 hours in a car each way sometimes, right? Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. And with a toddler, and I wasn't getting any sleep, it was just, it was really rough.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to Local Business Unboxed. Today we're here with Erica Puorro of Lamakia Realty, and she helps clients buy and sell homes across Mass and New Hampshire. She transitioned from a 15-year career in advertising to follow her passion for real estate. And today we'll talk about her journey, the marketing strategies that work in her industry, and her predictions for the evolving real estate market.
Yes, sounds good.
Yeah, how's it going?
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
You have been in Amesbury for how long?
Well, I've lived in Amesbury for now 15 years, but prior to that, I lived in Boston, but I grew up in the area. So I grew up in southern New Hampshire, went to Amesbury High, and went to college, and then came back once I had kids.
So your roots are in the area.
Yes, they are. Yes.
So tell us about how you got to where you are today.
Geez, wow. So I went to Boston University, and I studied advertising and communications. And after that, I stayed in the city and worked for 2 different ad agencies in Boston.
Okay.
Ended up getting married and having a son, and we were living in the city. But we decided, you know what, we need to move back to Amesbury where our family and friends are. We needed help. We needed just daycare and help with our kids.
What was your schedule like at the Boston job?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It was, advertising. I don't know if you're familiar with the ad agency life, but it is busy. It's all hours, all hands on deck usually. So it was crazy. So yeah.
So yeah, Amesbury is much different than Boston.
Yes.
So you came back up here.
And
you quit your job at that point or no?
No. So then I was commuting from Amesbury to Boston.
Oh, wow.
And so I was gone from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On a good day. And then at that time, I had 2 toddlers at home. And I just, so for 15 years, I worked in the city. But I just said, you know what? I don't want this life anymore. I got really burnt out.
That's like 2 hours in a car each way sometimes, right? Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. And with a toddler, and I wasn't getting any sleep. It was just, it was really rough.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to make a change, but I wanted to use the skills that I got in advertising and marketing and work locally. I knew I wanted to be, work full time, but be also available for my kids and be a good mom and just be present. So I'd always kind of thought about real estate, and I hooked up with Kathy Toomey. I'm sure many people in Amesbury know her.
Mm-hmm. She started Stonebridge at the time. It was Stonebridge. Now it's Lamakia.
That's right. So she was one of the owners of Stonebridge.
Okay.
And so I met with her and I said, listen, I'm thinking about making this change. What does a career in real estate look like? And she filled me in. She took me under her wing. I was attached to her hip for a long time. I learned a ton from her. And now here I am today, 10 years later.
How does your local knowledge does it differentiate you? How do you differentiate yourself in let's be honest, a super saturated market of real estate?
Absolutely. I think that being local and knowing different communities is huge. I think not only different towns, but also just pocket neighborhoods that are unique. I also think having a knowledge of, various downtowns, various schools, recreational opportunities and stuff, I think really helps when I'm helping people buy and sell.
Right. Do you focus mostly in the southern New Hampshire, Amesbury area? I mean, we've worked together on some listings, and I feel like that's where most of your houses that you sell are.
Yes, absolutely. I think I have a radius, I would say about an hour from Amesbury, except not the Boston market. I go as far north as, say, Danvers, Peabody. That's actually south.
South of here, north of Boston.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in New Hampshire, just because I grew up in southern New Hampshire, I do know a lot of the southern New Hampshire neighborhoods. Also, buyers tend to, when they're looking, they say, okay, I want to look in Amesbury. And then, let's be honest, prices are so high. And the Amesbury, Newburyport market, it's really hard to break in. And so buyers eventually end up kind of going out and moving their radius into southern New Hampshire, where you could get maybe a little bit more of an affordable home.
Yeah, we just sold our house in Amesbury, and it's ridiculous. Like,
Crazy.
let me ask you the off topic, but is Amesbury like the next Newburyport? I feel like there's more developments popping up, and like the market values are insane. Obviously, there's no water, and it's not quite like Newburyport, but like,
I don't know. I think Amesbury has a different vibe than Newburyport.
Yeah.
I don't think Amesbury will ever be Newburyport. And
hope
that's
not.
me because I'm an Amesbury
Yeah.
girl. But I don't think so. I don't think so.
okay, I hope
Yeah.
not. Nothing against Newburyport, but
Right.
I like Amesbury the way it is.
Right. Me too. Me too.
So once you started with at the time Stone Ridge, were there any like key moments that you realized that this is going to work out, or like that really changed your path or anything like that?
You know, I loved it. I had my first closing, and I remember it just distinctly. I was sitting there and I said, you know what? I can't wait to do more of this. I cannot wait. I just got the bug. And from there, I just, hit the ground running. I hustle, I pounded the pavement. I was just out there. And I just knew after my first closing, I wanted more.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, would you say you get your best clients? So let's shift to marketing a little bit. Obviously, word of mouth is like the king, I think.
Right.
But like, talk about how you get most of your clients.
Family and friends.
Yeah.
It really is. I love working with family and friends, and then my family and friends refer me to their family and friends. So that's really who I love working with people I know, or people who know me, or a friend of someone who knows me.
Right.
That being said, I work with a lot of people I don't know, just a lot of people that either find me online or find me through Zillow, and I'm happy to work with them as well.
Do you help buyers and sellers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite?
Sellers.
Yeah. You hold all the cards. You just kind of like,
Well, in this market, let's be
Yeah.
honest, it's a great time to
Yeah.
sell a home. So, yes, I think it's great working with sellers, and I do also love a specific niche of first-time home buyers.
I was going to ask you if they're that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So first time home buyers.
Yes.
Is it more gratifying, or like what's the?
It really is. I like actually teaching them about the process.
Okay.
It's not you just go in a house, you love it, you make an offer, and it's done. We know that. You know that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah.
There's a huge process to it, and I like teaching buyers about every step and guiding them through the most important part of their life at that time.
I will say there's like the new law where you don't need, or whatever it is, that you don't need a buyer's agent, right? Or
Yeah,
I forget about it now. It's been a few months.
right. There is a new law. It's basically
Or you don't get paid. You might have to pay for your buyer's agent, whereas before it was always pretty much free.
yes, sort of.
Depending on the sellers. Anyway, the point of this was you definitely need an agent when you're buying a house, unless it's like some kind of underground deal with your family or something, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's important to have an agent in your corner, whether you're the buyer or whether you're the seller. It's important to have someone advocating for you only. When you have the same person representing both buyer and seller, things get really, really muddy.
Yeah.
So it's
We
important.
just sold our house to a buyer without an agent, but it was all cash, and it was like the smoothest part of the transaction. There's a nightmare on the other side of our purchase, but
Right.
we won't get into that. So shifting towards the marketing, what's kind of your biggest Are you YouTube, Instagram, Facebook? What's your biggest avenue that you spend the most time on for your marketing?
For marketing, I would say I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do more videos because you always say videos are key. So I'm definitely on those platforms. And, I also do direct mail. So print isn't dead, in my
It
opinion.
still works?
I think so.
Yeah. What do you send?
So I send quarterly newsletters that are super local to the Amesbury, Newburyport area. So it has a lot of like events that are going on in and around the town, recent sales, and then just some like tips and tricks of home ownership, basically.
Cool.
So I think having that, it's delivered to my person's house, And having a piece that is printed and sitting on my client's, coffee table or kitchen table, I think goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine most people want to trust their agent, whether they're buying or selling. 'Cause that's a huge deal.
Hmm.
What do you think helps build the most trust for you through your marketing? Obviously, I think the referrals, right? They probably trust you right out of the gate because someone close to them
Right.
sent you your info. Is there anything that you think helps with that digitally?
I think that trust is earned. I think that once you start working with someone, that there's probably a small amount of trust.
Yeah.
But as I start working with my clients, I feel as though I prove my worth and I earn their trust. So by providing, market updates, by providing data, maybe off-market listings, so that type of thing, I think, builds trust along the way. Also, just being super communicative, just
Yeah.
responding to emails, texts, phone calls as soon as I possibly can.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you talked about how the mailing and that kind of offline uh, marketing works. What do you find works for you online? What are you posting on social media, or is there anything? I know it's a little bit of everything, even for me.
Yeah. I think so. For me, I'm a little bit insecure about the whole thing because I'm like, why do people even care what I'm doing in my job?
Right.
But when I go out, socially, people always come to me and ask me, how's the market? What's going on? What do you think my house is worth? Just casually. So I think generally people, the general public, they're interested in real estate. So at any rate, the postings that I do, I find the ones that I post about more myself, like either pictures of me doing something or video of me doing something, perform better than just like, oh, I just sold this property.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so what? She just sold another property. But more kind of like day in the life of like what's going on, what I see, whether it be a grand, amazing kitchen,
Right.
or just this like really weird, I recently went into a bathroom and there was like this tiny, tiny bathtub, like just these random things that
Random
I'll
things.
find along the way.
Yeah. Insights into your day. We just had Jake on the last episode, and we
Okay.
talked about that as well. He said the same thing. The posts that he makes with his daily activities or him on camera do the best.
Right.
And I think in the last year or so, it's shifted towards just interest-based human marketing. Like before, you could just have these great graphics, or you could spend thousands on a video that just looked good and was just like you walking in slow motion, and it would do well. But now it's like people want to see the reality show. They want a connection, which is
Yes.
why I think that's huge, and that's why that probably does it the best.
Yes, absolutely.
So hopefully this helps with that.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's one of my goals.
Yeah.
Is there anything like more tactically that you think works better, like stories versus like reels, or are you kind of just what do you think works better for you?
I think anything video, anything moving.
Okay.
So whether it be a story or a reel, I think that even if it's just like a little boomerang, I think that just visually is more pleasing, rather than just like a stagnant picture.
Right. I
So,
agree. And I
yeah.
think people local, like your ideal client is who? Local homeowners, basically? Or?
Yeah, I would say local homeowners, people who are maybe renting and who want to buy, or people who are kind of downsizing. They've been living in their family home for 30 years and they're downsizing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, also a great way to connect with people is also via Messenger, via
Right.
Instagram and Facebook as well.
Yeah. Especially
So-
on the stories, you can see who watches you.
Yep.
Which is the indicator of that relationship. So you can send messages. Not a lot of people do that. Like you can follow, hey, thanks for watching my story or something. If you notice it's someone that's like an ideal client, not like another agent or anything, but
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And speaking of other agents, I just feel like, other agents are also our allies. They're, I don't look at other agents as my competition, to be honest.
right.
I look at them as my coworker, whether they're at Lamakia Realty or whether they're at Remax. You look at them and I always try to cheer my fellow realtors on as well. So
Yeah, that's one thing I notice about the successful realtors. They don't really view it as like this hard cut. You might have a deal with them in the future, or they might join your brokerage, or like
yeah,
every moment you spend being a hole about competition is a moment you could just be putting into your own business or something. You know, it's just
absolutely. At the end of the day, you both have the same goal in mind,
yeah,
is to help each of your clients and get them to where they want to go.
right.
So yeah,
And if you're an a-hole, karma comes back, and I can think of a few scenarios where that's happened.
absolutely. You want to be nice
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
yeah. So what are what's some advice you'd give to other agents that are newer, like maybe when you first started, about just general advice, and then also about the marketing? What do you think you'd
Yeah.
say to them?
So general advice is go into the office. Go into the office. Do not sit at home in your little hole and try to do something on your own. If you go into the office, you are going to hear what's going on with other agents. You're going to just, you could sponge it all up.
Right.
Um,
It's the experience.
exactly, exactly. And then also, social media, it's free, right? So Facebook business page, it's free. Instagram, it's free. YouTube. So get out there and just put yourself out there. I think you told me actually, John, that, who cares if you mess up?
Right.
Who cares if you mess up
Especially
on a
on a
video?
story, it's gone in 24 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like people need to see that and just rip the Band-Aid and get out there. So, yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I'm always a fan of just putting it all out there, seeing what works, and
Right.
going from there.
It may take a couple takes.
Yeah. We've
But,
done a few couple takes.
Yes, we
shoots
have.
before.
Yes, we have.
What are some things that you've tried that haven't worked? Maybe you've spent like hours on something and it just flopped, or
Yeah. So one of the first things that I did, and I think I saw this, I don't know, it was on a YouTube or something like that, but it was a letter that was sent to expired or canceled listings. So you send those to like the homeowner. And I thought it was a brilliant idea at the time. It was a piece of paper where I wrote a letter saying, I noticed that your listing didn't sell. Can I help you try to sell your home? And then it was like a crumpled up piece of paper though. And it was like, I was going to throw this in the trash, but I decided to send it to you. And I was like, I just look back on it and I got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
No calls. It was
Okay.
pretty cheesy, but I tried things and that did not work. So
interesting.
yeah.
I don't know if I pretty much expect any piece of mail that comes from someone I don't know to be spam. So I always look at it with that
Right.
lens.
Well, I had the envelopes and I
you hand wrote it? Okay.
because I had time at
Yeah.
the time to
Yeah.
do all of that. So anyways, that was a major fail.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of houses that don't sell anymore? I
Not
don't think
now,
so.
but
Yeah.
10 years ago, yes.
Okay.
So when I first started, the market was very different. Now, we're not seeing that at all.
Okay. So let's talk about the broker, how that plays a role. I saw an agent make a post recently asking this, and get a lot of feedback on there. So what role does the broker play? From a perspective of the consumer, I
Yes.
wonder if they even really put much weight onto like the broker behind you. So if you were to ask me, I think it might be the support that the broker gives the agent, but at the end of the day, the agent is the brand and what people notice. But tell me what you think. And
I think you're absolutely right. So basically, our company just merged with Lamacchia Realty. So Stonebridge merged with Lamacchia Realty. And so I'm still me. I still offer the same services, the same great communication, same negotiating skills, but I am with a different brokerage. And this brokerage, what they provide is unbelievable. So the support, the technology, the marketing, the training, it's all there. And having that is amazing. Having that support behind me is making me better as an agent. So yes, I think it's me, my brand, but having Lamacchia behind me, and also, they are recognized nationally.
I see him on TV all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Which so that helps as well. So that brand recognition is great. But again, at the end of the day, I'm still my own brand.
So when you're meeting with a potential client, they're not really like putting much weight into, oh, I have this broker, but you can probably be like, oh, we have this much reach. So it
Absolutely.
makes you look better from a consumer point of view, but the broker helps you a ton on the back end.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Saying, La Macchia Realty, we have over 700 agents,
Right.
right? So 700 agents and all the buyers and sellers that they're working with. Think of how we can put buyers and sellers together, perhaps off market, maybe not, So you have a referral network.
Is the broker in Florida too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So there's a office in Florida as well.
Okay.
So
And
yeah.
I guess that works with Mass and Florida because people retire down there, right?
Yes.
Have homes in
Yes.
both areas.
That's my goal.
Yeah, same. Yeah, especially
Right?
this time of year.
After
Yeah.
this stretch of weather.
I know.
Yeah.
You also, so what are some tools that let's talk about being a first time home buyer. What are some things that home buyers can do to make it easier? You mentioned like MLS listing alerts, but like what, I don't know, talk to a home buyer that's looking to buy a house but has no plan right now.
Right. So I usually sit down with a buyer. So I usually love to just say, hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee. Let's go sit in my office and I'll take you through the whole buying process. Right. So it's getting pre approved. And I would say pre approved with a local lender. I really strongly believe that working with someone locally and someone who you can call and they'll pick up the phone
Right.
is huge. So it starts with the pre-approval, and then yes, setting up on the MLS and getting listing alerts, and then just communicating the whole entire way with your realtor because your realtor will have insight. On various homes. Maybe they've actually been in the home before that you're interested in and can give you some insight. They could give you previous sale history. They could get some disclosures for you.
Even if it's like they don't have a house that they want to buy in particular and they just know like within the next few months or a year I want to buy a house, they can still start.
Absolutely. I always say, hey, if you want to look to buy in 3 to 6 months or even a year, get on the MLS listings because then you're going to see what's out there. You're going to see prices and see what you can get for certain prices. So I think it's really important to just, get as much information as possible. I also tell buyers, if you're not ready to buy right now, it's fine. Go to an open house. It's fine. Just go in, sign in, and take a look around because the more homes you look at, the better off you'll be because once you find that home you love, you're going to know it,
Right.
So
And then you're prepared to make an offer or start it,
Yes.
rather than reacting.
Yes, exactly. And I think I always tell buyers, I'm here with you every step of the way. A lot of times people get advice from people who aren't in real estate. So I have clients and many clients who have received advice from their parents and advice from their friends and advice from their coworker, but they're not in real estate, right? They're not, I'm trained, I take continuing education, been doing this for 10 years. It's my full-time job. So I always say like, great, get advice from those people, but if you're really worried about something, call me.
Right.
Because I'll fill you in. I will give you the real deal. So
Good. Yeah, it's good to have that in your corner when you're trying to buy a house.
Yep.
Especially when it's competitive. What are some of your biggest challenges? So like in marketing, but then also if there's anything that comes to mind outside of marketing, but what are some of the, I don't know, struggles or things that you're like, I should be doing, but I'm not?
Yeah, it's, one of the things I love about real estate is no day is exactly the same. You don't have a typical day.
Right.
But it's also something that I struggle with because I am a person who likes structure. So you never know when you're going to get that call like, hey, I want to see this house. I need to see it today. And it's like, okay, now my schedule is totally changed, which is fine. That's what it's all about. But that's one of the things that's a little bit tough. The other thing is just staying on top of all the possible marketing channels you could do, right? I mean, my job is to sell houses and guide people to where they want to be next, but also keeping on top of all the different marketing trends and the latest fad and stuff like that is definitely challenging.
And then what about like lead follow-up? Is that a challenge too? If you like have to follow up with people or is that no?
I think lead follow-up, I mean, that's part of how you're going to make a sale. So no, I feel
Good.
like I follow up.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the future, I guess. So like
Yeah.
the market has been crazy for years. What do you think is going to happen this year? Are more houses and people? I know a lot of people want to buy a house and just can't, or if something comes up, there's 20 offers. And what do you think is
Yes.
going to happen this
I
year?
mean, the last few years have been insane, and you're totally right. It's been really hard for buyers out there. Multiple offers, over asking offers, buyers needing to waive inspections. It's crazy. So I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But my hope would be that the market sort of evens out, because right now sellers are up here and buyers are down here.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope like we have more inventory this year. When we have more inventory, that helps buyers. So there aren't like 20 offers on one house, you know? So I'm hoping it kind of evens out a bit. I think it's still going to be a seller's market, but if we have more inventory, then I'd like to see an even out.
Yeah, I
That
hope
makes
so.
sense.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So to prepare for that, I guess just reaching out to you and getting the ball rolling, setting some steps is a good way to approach it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. If home ownership is a goal for you this year or even next year, it's a good idea to get started. It's a good idea to hook up with me, get a pre-approval, and then start the conversation. It's not going to hurt. You know, it's just going to provide you as a buyer with more information. And then in terms of selling, you know, if you think you want to sell this year, maybe not for another month or 3 months or 6 months, it's also good to start working together, because what I do with my seller clients is we meet, I go to the house, we kind of come up with a punch list of things that I think that they should do to get ready to go on the market, right? So it may be decluttering, it may be painting a room, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a punch list, and you're not scrambling a week before we're taking photos to try to get the house ready.
Right. I mean, it's mid-January now, so do you think it'll pick up a ton in like March, April?
Yes, I think it all depends on the weather and the snow when the spring market hits. But I'm hoping, you know, early March to late March, things will pick up and we'll start seeing more homes on the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of good information, insights into marketing and the market itself. I think we're ready to wrap it up here. How can people find you if they want to talk about buying or selling? What's the best way to reach out to you?
So you can go to my website, which is ericapuorro.com.
How do you spell your last name?
It's Puorro.
And Erica with a C.
Erica with a C.
Okay.
My phone number is 857-225-2436.
So reach out to Erica if you have any questions, even if you're not sure. And I'm sure she can help you figure it out.
Yes. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of Local Business Unboxed. Follow us. We'll be on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And check the show notes for Erica's info and some links. And be sure to join us next time, and also support your local businesses.